I've never met anybody who slept the extra 9 minutes from a snooze button and said, that's what I needed. You just wake up angry at who created mornings. Most people are trying to build the kingdom of God on eventually later people. Heaven doesn't take rain checks.
Right.
And most people are living their life with spiritual snooze buttons. That's how a lot of people live their life with God. It's delay after delay after delay.
Hey everybody, I'm Todd Mullins. Welcome to Made for More, a podcast all about helping you live the life you were made for. This is a space where we talk about faith that works and leadership that lasts, and how to bring both of those into the everyday moments that shape our lives. My goal is to give you perspective so you can win where it matters most. And I hope you walk away from this conversation a little more encouraged and a little more equipped for all God has called you to do and who He's called you to be. Enjoy today's episode. Hey everybody, so glad you're with us today. I've got my good friend Shaun Nepstad from the other side of the world, California, in the room today. Thank you, Shaun, for being here. You are such a good guy, friend of mine. Appreciate you so much, man.
Oh, I love you. Love your family. Love this church. You just add so much value to everybody you come in contact with and make every room better.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you're doing this podcast because it's going to bless and help people who feel stuck in life.
Yeah, we're trying to help people experience the more that God has in store for them, even when things don't look like it's coming around the corner. We know that it is.
Yeah.
Hey, you are a busy guy. You're a husband. You and your wife leading a great church out in California. You're a father, a grandfather, which I know that's kind of your
the best part
of that life, right? You're a culture coach. You've got this killer culture coaching executives out in Silicon Valley and the Upper California area, doing a great job there. We're going to talk a little about culture. You're an author of a great book, Don't Quit in the Dip. We're going to maybe touch on that a little bit today. There's a lot going on in your life today. So we got a lot we can learn from you. I want to start with culture, okay? Because culture is just something that impacts all of us. There's good culture, bad culture. It's not just for businesses and corporations. It's for families. It's for the culture of your marriage and your home. It's the culture of a team you lead or a team that you're on. You may not even be the leader of the team, but you can help set the culture. And just start by just helping us understand, again, be reminded why culture is so important.
Well, culture is anything you create or tolerate.
Yeah.
So there's not one thing in our companies, our families, our churches we're not responsible for because we either created it or we're tolerating it. And the most powerful person in any organization, any church, it's not the person who carries the highest title. It's the one who controls that feel. The problem with toxic culture is it's never satisfied in the back seat. It's always reaching for the steering wheel to drive.
Say that again, right?
It's never quiet. Yeah. It's never just, let me sit back here and be toxic all by myself. It wants to reach for the wheel. It wants to drive. It wants to crash. And so as a leader, you have to identify and assess, first of all, who are we? Who are we going to be as a family? Teach that to the kids. Who are we going to be as a church? And a lot of people have driven a physical car without a license. And I know many of the listeners, if they were honest, they have done that. I did as well.
I did that when I was 15.
And the problem is there are a lot of people who come into your churches or organizations or even your kids' friend circle who are driving, but you've not licensed them to drive that way here. So they're driving illegally. And insecure leaders won't approach that. They'll just put up with it. And they allow that. And pretty soon that toxic culture becomes the dominant culture. And it's very difficult because toxic culture is more contagious than COVID is. You know, it spreads through a whole team, an office, a church fast. So it's identifying what culture we're going to allow, tolerate, but also intentionally designing it the way you really want it to be.
How have you helped leaders when they've identified a bad culture, a toxic culture? How do you help them take the first step in addressing it, dealing with it, identifying it, and doing something about it?
Well, I'll take one case. There's a CEO of a hospital in the Bay Area, and it was one of the lowest scoring hospitals in the Bay Area for culture. And they've gone through several CEOs, I think 5 in 3 years. So there's a problem. New guy steps in, and I just prophetically tell him, you're the guy. You're the guy that's going to turn this whole thing around. Came through Killer Culture Academy. We coached him. We trained him. He actually ended up joining the church, daughter getting baptized, had me come speak to the 40 top executives. And I just got a text last week. He said, I can't believe it. Our hospital has now scored the highest grade among our network of hospitals, an A. They got an A. And the revenue is the highest it's been in 20 years.
My goodness.
This
tell us how you coached him. Let us in on the secret.
Obviously, it's a process.
Sure.
But you have to identify the gap between the culture you have and the culture you want. But not only just what you want, what type of culture does your company, church, family demand to actually win? And then you have to design it. I say you have to create culture 3 times. Once in your head, once in your hand, once in the team.
Once in your head. That's thinking about what you really want it to be.
Design it.
Yeah.
And then once in your hand, on paper, on a format.
Good.
But that's not even enough. You have to get it into the team to where they're carrying culture when you're not in the room. They're protecting culture when you're not in the room. And we built a 43,000 square foot building. The architect took the plans, put them on paper. They then took the paper, gave it to the builders. But that wasn't enough. Because I'd show up and they were about to put a wall 20 feet off center. They had the plans, they just interpreted it wrong.
Wow.
So that's a lot of times I found that there are leaders who are holding their team members to a standard that only lives in their head. And culture that only lives in the leaders' heads turns into frustration that lives in the team.
Okay.
So it's really walking through that.
We saw that firsthand at our church here, right? Because we had this culture that we knew that we loved and wanted and valued. Yeah. But when you're small, you kind of go, everybody knows, right? Everybody gets it. But then as you start to grow, if any business starts to grow, expand, then it's got to be not just written down, but it's got to be taught, articulated, celebrated, identified, all of those things. So we had to go through the hard process of re-articulating, writing it down, re-coaching, and then making sure that the people we were coaching could turn around and coach it, had the tools to turn around and coach it to the teams they were leading and the volunteers they were leading so that culture could be
And
strong.
I find a lot of great CEOs and or pastors have great churches and corporations, and yet they're home. They don't do that. They don't put that level of energy into their kids. And I love the topic of this entire podcast. You're made for more. And there are enemies of more. There are enemies of the devil doesn't want you to win.
Right.
Like there was a full out assault on the more that God has for you.
Why don't you talk about that for a minute? What are some of those distractions?
Well, I think first of all, when we believe the lie that we no longer need people, we're in trouble. And if you don't borrow strength, you'll bleed alone.
Yes.
Aaron and Hur, they're lifting up Moses' hands.
Yeah.
Moses, in the next chapter, 18 of Exodus, he's told by his father-in-law, what you're doing is not good, you're doing too much. But the chapter before, he aced it. Got it right. There's a battle going on. And in that moment, Aaron and Hur lift his arms up. You have to understand, if you're going to be successful, you need to learn the principle of borrowed strength. Your strength has a shelf life.
Yeah.
At some point, I don't care how much you love God, doesn't matter how enthusiastic you are, your strength has a shelf life. And the danger is not in getting tired. The danger is pretending you won't. So when you get tired, who is there lifting your hands up? And then who are you lifting up? So one is having the right relationships in place. Two, I think, would be distractions. You know, the one verse comes to mind where Jesus says, anyone who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is not fit for the kingdom. He's talking to 3 guys. Well, first guy says, I'll follow you anywhere, which, by the way, that is a very easy thing to say at a conference.
Yeah.
Very easy thing to say.
Easy to say on Sunday morning.
Easy, piece of cake. And you're motivated. But Jesus is like, I don't even have a place to lay my head. Like, can you follow me when it's inconvenient?
Yeah.
Second guy says, I'm going to follow you. I'll put my hand to the plow, but let me go bury my dad. Which most scholars agree, the language that's used there, his dad's not even dead yet.
Right.
He's going to go home and wait for his dad to die, and then one day come back, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'll put my hand to the plow and I'll follow you, Jesus. And Jesus says something. that seems so insensitive. He says, let the dead bury the dead. Why would Jesus say something that comes across so insensitive? Well, Jesus wasn't in a place where he's disrespecting family. He's just challenging delay.
Mm.
And God has
That's good.
so much more for you. He has so much available. But most of the time, we think we can serve God on our pending timeline. Most people are trying to build the kingdom of God on eventually later people. Like heaven doesn't take rain checks.
Right.
And most people are living their life with spiritual snooze buttons. I know some of the listeners here.
Yeah.
I don't use a snooze button.
Yeah.
Many times I'll wake up 2 minutes before my alarm. But I know there are some listeners out there. And you hit the snooze button 1 time, 2 times, 4 times, 5 times.
Come on, wake up.
And that is a very difficult place to live because you are just delaying. I've never met anybody who slept the extra 9 minutes from a snooze button and said, that's what I needed. You just wake up angry at who created mornings. But that's how a lot of people live their life with God. It's delay after delay after delay after delay. And then the third guy says, I'll follow you, but first, let me go say bye to my family. And we remember who's supposed to be first. Mm-hmm. Matthew 6:33, seek first his kingdom, his right, and then all this other stuff will be added unto you. But Jesus knew, but first is the language of somebody who wants to keep a foot in both worlds. So he challenged all 3 of these. And when he says, you're not fit for the kingdom, many people take that as a harsh rebuke. He's not talking about salvation here. We're saved by grace through faith. It's free, finished work of Christ. He's talking about purpose. He's talking about commitment. So he wasn't saying you're not good enough to be saved. He was saying you're not aligned enough to be helpful.
All right. Wow.
If you put your hand to the plow and look back, and there's a lot of reasons we lift our head, right?
Yeah, sure.
We lift our head to see what everybody else is doing. Comparison. There was a time where if someone was killing it, we didn't know.
Yeah, it's true. There wasn't no way to find out.
There's no shortage of people bragging about themselves.
Yeah.
And envy is just a time waster.
Yes.
And people spend 8 hours a day in front of screens. That's a full-time job, looking at other people. And then we lift our head. I mean, you could fill in, and the listeners, you can fill in a lot better ones probably as well. But we lift our head also to see what other people are doing, but also we lift our heads just to see if anybody is noticing. Is anybody clapping for me?
Yeah.
Anybody appreciating my sacrifice?
Recognize what I'm doing? Yeah.
It's a trap. And then we also get to a place where if you're not careful, you just start complaining. We lift our head to complain. We were plowing for God, working for God. The more that's promised, we're like, yes, we're going to take the hill. And then we just start to complain. And I seem to remember a group of people in the Bible who complained, and it cost them 40 years in the wilderness.
That's right. They missed out on the more.
Plowing. If you're seeing inconsistent rows and inconsistent patterns, it's coming from an inconsistent you. God is faithful. He is consistent. So if we're not seeing the more yet, look at us. You know, it's kind of like when you drive with somebody, they can't drive straight and turn and talk to you because their hand goes. It's like the string attached to their forehead to the wheel. Yeah. They don't know how to talk.
Have you been driving with me lately? It's okay.
Hey, when I get in the car with you, I pray, Lord, I want to be right with you first.
Yeah, I like to drive fast. But that's so good, Shaun, because you're right. Sometimes when the more is not happening, we tend to blame too many external circumstances. We tend to blame other people when we've really got to look at what's going on in our own life first. Yeah. What are we doing that's positioning ourselves to either receive the more and walk that out, or maybe miss out on the more that God has for us? And so looking up, getting distracted, waiting to see who's noticing what we're doing, all those things are really powerful. You talk about this a lot in your book too. Don't quit in the dip. Yeah. Which we'll make sure is in the show notes for you to get a link to this book. It's a great book. It covers a lot of territory in this book. But what would you want the listeners to know based on what we're talking about right now, that when there's frustration or when there's delay, what's the best way to keep persevering? What's the tool that they can use? Because so many of us will have dreams that we thought by now, by now I'd be married, or by now I'd have kids, or by now the career would be different, that aren't coming to fruition. Or we have prayers that we've stopped praying because, man, it seems like we've gone so long and we haven't had those prayers answered yet. But you would say, don't quit in the dip. Keep dipping.
Yeah. Well, for me, that book was written out of pain and experience. And everybody experiences a dip. Successful people are not exempt from a dip. They just didn't stop.
Okay.
So there's lessons you have to learn in the dip. There are things you need to leave behind in the dip. Mm-hmm. But what we need to realize is that your destiny is actually on the other side of your dip. Like, there are people waiting for you. Joseph had a 13-year dip.
Yeah.
But there were thousands of people that were waiting for him on the other side of that dip. And so whenever I'm not seeing the more of God, I ask us a couple questions. Lord, am I aligned? What do I need to add? What do I need to take away? But what lessons do I need to learn? Help me learn them quickly.
Yeah.
Because I think
it's not 13 years.
Yeah, I think the dip is inevitable. The time is negotiable of the dip.
Okay.
So yeah, that's something of keeping the why, or the vision of what is in front of you. And as leaders, as we're helping other people get through their dips, or maybe your friend is going through a dip, all we have is a paintbrush at the end of the day, of painting a picture of what could be if. So we're helping them see the greater picture of why they should keep going. Mm. Even people that quit in the dip, they're the ones that just feel like, I don't think I'm ever going to make it out.
You talk a lot about living with a healthy pace of life, and sometimes life gets busy, and when you've got a lot going on, all of us do. It can be easy to lose sight of what's actually going to create. We'll lose sight of what's most important. We'll lose sight of what our priorities are. How have you personally, as your ministry's expanded, responsibilities have expanded, your influence with these CEOs there around San Francisco have expanded. How have you managed a healthy pace, or what have you done when you've found yourself, man, I'm not in a healthy place?
That is a tension to be managed every day, because just when you think you have mastered it, you realize there's still distractions and temptations to lift your head. So it is not living in the sense of balance. I think this generation is screaming balance, balance, balance. I don't typically see balance in Paul's life or Peter's life. They gave their all. Like, my life is a drink offering poured out. But they did live in terms of priority. So if you can get that mindset shift, you can change behavior of I'm no longer just living out of trying to see if everything is balanced. Some seasons it's like this, other seasons it's like that. That's just the way life goes. But can you live with a sense of priority to where I'm going to get the most important things in first? It goes back to the big rock illustration we have all used. So priority has really helped. My mom, every day, she would, when she was alive, she had an old Franklin Covey book, and she would write down everything she needs to do in the day. And she write an A by the stuff that needs to be done today, a B by the stuff that if I get A done, then I do B. Mm-hmm. C, be nice to do today, but don't have to. And I only do C if I get done A and B. The next morning, she'd transfer everything over. She lived her life that way. And I think that would really benefit us to identify the priority instead of just balance.
Yeah, sometimes we go to the C because we want to do that one. Oh, let's do that. Or that's easy. Let me check that off the list. And then we get to the end of the day and we didn't even start with A, which are the things that really needed to get done. Yeah. I know that happens to me sometimes if I don't get really intentional. And then things feel out of whack because now I'm up late, up early, trying to get A done before the first meeting the next day because I focused on C too long.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What else do you want our listeners to know about your life, about your leadership, about?
Well, I think I probably would end with a story. I have 4 daughters. And we had 4 girls under the age of 2 when they were first born.
Wait, say that again.
Yeah,
4?
a 2-year-old,
Yeah.
a 1-year-old, and twins were 0. You've seen a double stroller. We had a triple stroller and one on a leash. And when they were young, we were living in Texas at the time, and we had a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, twins were 2. They never knew what the ice cream truck was. And I feel partly responsible for that because I'm the one that told them, girls, that's the music truck.
See, you didn't lie. Yeah.
For 2 solid years, they thought the sole purpose of that music truck was to drive through communities, play music.
Shaun, that's cool.
For little kids to come out of
That's really cool.
We had so many confused drivers. These drivers would drive by. Do you want ice cream? I'm like, keep it moving, buddy. Our girls wouldn't even chase they just would smile and wave. Hi, music truck. Hi. Every day. But all that was ruined one day when I took them to Grandma's house. My wife's mother. My mother because of the law.
Because
these daughters came running out, and our eldest daughter, who was really the only one who could articulate intellectually, she said, Dad, guess what? I said, what is it, baby? She said, the music truck has ice cream too. Grandma ruined everything in that moment. And no longer were they satisfied with smiling and waving. They wanted some hard, cold cash for some overpriced ice cream treats.
It wasn't even good.
My point is there was more available the entire time, and they didn't know it.
Yeah.
And I want to just tell you listeners today, there's more available. You may not know it. Sometimes it takes somebody else like this podcast, like a small group, like your local church, to let you know there is still more available. I'm here to tell you, the music truck sells ice cream too.
Good. So good. Shaun, I'd like to end with the same question for every person. How has your definition of more, how has it changed and evolved as you've grown up? Think back to when you were like maybe 20. How was more then? And then as you started your family or started the church, and then today, how has it evolved?
I started off thinking about all of the more as a benefit to me. God, what can you do for me? I want more for me. And as I've grown, I'm turning that perspective around. Lord, I want more to be a bigger blessing to others. How can I add more value? And even for you churchgoers, if you go to church, church becomes really fun when you stop going just for you.
All right.
That's when purpose comes alive. So the more that our pastor says you need to know what the more is for, when you get the more, just realize God will give you more and more and more as long as you are not clogging the pipe. Mm. Allow that more to flow through you. So I've realized that the more value I'm able to add to more people, the more purpose I feel, the more wind of God I feel. That's been the big change.
That is so good. This has been so rich. Shaun, thank you for taking the time to invest in us, invest in me again here. Listen, there is more. And if you want more, even from this, you need to make sure you subscribe. I've got a weekly newsletter that goes out to your inbox every Monday morning early with encouragement for your week and what God's got for you. Make sure you subscribe and share this podcast. If you've listened to this, go back and listen again. You dropped so many great wisdom bombs right in the middle of this. I can't wait to listen to it again myself. And then we've got Shaun's book, and also I want to give a link to his church website in the show notes so that you can hear more from Pastor Shaun Nepstad. Thanks again for being here today, brother. God bless.